Today we are looking at the third method for solving systems of linear equations, which is the method of elimination. In the method of elimination, we are going to be adding or subtracting the two linear equations together so that we will eliminate one variable, which will leave us with a value for the other. Whether we add or subtract will depend on the equations that we have. And remember, the end result will be the point of intersection between line 1 and line 2. So everybody should have their blue key concept note out, and this is example 1 on the back side of the blue key concept note. Step number 1 is going to be to write out the two linear equations stacked on one another where we've lined up the x and the y's on top of each other so that we have x's on top of x's and y's on top of y's. We're then going to label the lines 1 and 2 so that we can keep track of what we're doing to them. The next step is to look at the two lines and think about what would happen if we added them together or subtracted them from one another. So I know that if I add plus y and minus y together, that I will get a 0 value for y, and that's when I'm going to be eliminating y. So I'm going to do 1 plus 2. After I've decided that I'm going to add these two lines together, then I just add the x's together. I do 2x plus 3x is going to be 5x, plus y minus y is 0, and 9 plus 16 is 25. And notice that I've just moved the equal sign down to become part of the next equation. This is just a strategy. I don't need the 0 there, so I'm going to rewrite it without the 0. And I now have 5x equals 25. In order to get the x by itself, I'm going to use the same technique we've been using for several weeks now. Divide both sides by 5, which will leave me with a value of x of 5. Second step is the same as we've been using for the substitution method. We are going to sub in the value we just determined for x into each equation. Equation number 1 is 2x plus y equals 9. Instead of x, I'm going to write the value for x, and I'm going to multiply 2 times 5 is 10. It's 9. I need to find out what the positive value of y is. Y is already positive, so I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to move the 10, which will give me a value for y of -1. Into the second line, I have 3x minus y equals 16. Instead of the x, I'm going to write the value for x, which is 5. Now my y value is negative, so I want to move my y to the other side, so I have a positive y. 3 times 5 is 15. I want to get y by itself. Positive 16 on this side will become negative 16 on the other side. 15 minus 16 is -1, which is y. If the answer that I just determined for y in equation 2 is the same as in equation 1, then I know that I've done my steps correctly. I'm going to write out the final point that I just determined the point of intersection to be. The value for x, remember x goes first, is 5, and the value for y is -1.